Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Imperfect Men's Club podcast. My name is Mark Aylward, and I'm here as always with my good friend, colleague, and co-host Jim Gurley. And another interesting pregame. I got to stop saying that because they're always interesting. and cobbled with my perspective on life and Jim's perspective and recent events and meetings and dinners and things of that nature. But before I get into the topic, I just want to ask everybody if this stuff resonates with you. It would be very helpful to us as we begin to talk about expanding our audience to head over to Apple and give us a review and tap on that 5 star and share this thing with people and spread the word, if you will. Enough said. We came up with the topic today of self transformation, and the other word that's tied into that is self mastery. And of course, everything that we talk about starts with self awareness. Jim came across 12 rules essentially for becoming the strongest version of yourself. And I'm just going to read the 12 words instead of definitions, and then we'll take them on one at a time, Jim, and see how many we can get through in our 30 minutes allotted. So, and these aren't in any particular order. So, I'll just read them off. The first is discipline. Next is focus. And then resilience, consistency, solitude, energy, mind, body, legacy, time, surround, and untouchable. So going back up to the top, yeah, I think discipline. Jim, what are your thoughts on discipline?
Well, again, just to start off, Mark, this is something I came across recently. And as you know, with a lot of these things, I'll turn into a framework. So the framework we're going to discuss today is um, is inspired by a talk I listened to, and then they went down these 12 areas in relationship to self transformation, self mastery, and as we know, every episode we start off with self awareness. So I think they all go together. We've created this framework of the podcast of these 5 areas of our life, but this applies to, say, the implementation of that and the mindset, the framework that I felt was very helpful. And we'll dig into the words, but it starts off with the foundation, and that is the no one is coming. I mean, it's on us. It's in the end, we have ourselves to manifest or bring things to life. So the pillars, the foundation is built on changing the attitude that somebody's going to come and help. And the second one is um, being accepting responsibility for everything, as in it's not a victimhood, it's not circumstances. It starts with those two foundational um, pieces, and then from there, these words will have a lot more value. But yeah, let's start off with discipline. Why don't you go read what it says, and we'll break these down and how it applies to self transformation. And I think we're always transforming ourselves, right? Or we're trying to master the best version of ourselves. So this is the framework that I felt is that I'm going to use going forward um, to this path that we are all on, and that is the best version of ourselves.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I think there's no destination here. I think it's a journey, right? I mean,
Hmm.
it's my dad likes to ask me the question, how you doing today versus where you were 12 months ago.
Hmm.
And I hear people say 1% better today than yesterday, little baby steps. It's just many of these things, at least in my experience, you can't take any giant steps to get any of these places quickly. It's essentially discipline over time.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Mark, you said something too. Often, I'll be approached either by somebody I mentored or somebody that's asking for advice, and we talk about wisdom, we talk about giving them advice. But my one advice right now, going forward, would be master these 12 areas of your life. And starting off, number one is discipline. If you're not disciplined um, in doing the difficult things every day, then nothing else matters. So it's back to the fundamentals, just a simple message that if you stay true to all these, then you can manifest or bring things into your life. But if you don't, if you're not doing this every single day, then um, things don't happen for a reason, or these goals, um, these visions that you have of a better life are not going to happen. So yeah, let's
Well,
break them down.
the other thing that strikes me, Jim, and it just came to me now that there's so much in this world, not just today, always, but particularly today, that is beyond our control.
Absolutely.
These
Yep.
things are not. These things are within our control. All we have to do is
Mhm.
choose to control them.
Interesting.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so that's an
Appreciate the
interesting
perspective on it. Yeah.
recognition. But discipline, the definition here is real freedom is not doing whatever you want, but achieving self mastery through discipline. When your body obeys your mind, your habits serve your vision, and your time bends to your command. That is freedom and the architecture of strength.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean it's so many of these have so many different angles you can come in and look at them from, but discipline is, I get tremendous benefit personally from the routines that I have.
Mhm.
And when I fall out of discipline on a particular day, it has a very significant impact on the effectiveness that day, my productivity, my attitude. Just the mere just associating yourself with the word discipline is probably helpful
Mhm.
if you're not terribly disciplined, you know.
Yeah, again, this is probably the most important one because it's the most difficult, but the word freedom and discipline normally don't go together, right? You think if you have disciplines that you're disciplined to do this and that doesn't give you freedoms. No, it actually does give you freedom.
Hmm.
Um, because you're in control of yourself.
Yeah.
When you don't have discipline, other things occupy your time, your energy, all these things. So I found this one interesting because it's usually you think discipline, oh, I don't have time to do other things. No, you're actually prioritizing things in a way that it does give you more freedom. So,
Yeah, and I think we're already discovering just in these first few minutes that these are all much like our five areas of life on our flywheel, these are all connected, you
yeah,
know.
absolutely. Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
next one is focus. And the definition here of focus, or the context of focus, is power is concentrated by focusing energy on one mission or direction rather than scattering it across many pursuits. Guard your attention from trivial noise and distractions, pouring yourself fully into what matters to
Mhm.
amplify strength and turn potential into legacy.
Probably the most difficult, especially with the devices, social media, newsreels, and texts, and just people constantly having a direct connection to you. Focus is probably the most difficult thing for anybody throughout the day. It's part of discipline, but to either turn your phone off or not to respond to every um, message that you get. Look, we all do it. It sounds easy, but it's not. So,
No, it's probably my most challenging one for
mhm,
me. I have, and I say this a couple of different ways. They call it in the marketing online space, they call it shiny object syndrome, where everything gets your attention. But yeah, I have such an intellectual curiosity that it's a double-edged sword for me. I know a lot about a lot of different things as a result of that, but that's really not, if I had my druthers, I would say somehow figure out to be less distracted by things that aren't serving my purpose
mhm, mhm.
in the moment.
Yeah.
I I fall down with this one all the time.
Yeah. That's why again, self-mastery is a good way because you're mastering yourself and being aware. That's why
Well,
we talk
yeah,
about every week. Self-awareness means, hey, I am aware that my focus is not being distracted because my focus of something else is not really true to the disciplines or to my high level goals of what I want to accomplish for the day or for the week or whatever it is. But
well, yeah, and what ends up happening is you have a lot of things that are unfinished because
mhm.
you're distracted before you reach the finish line.
Right, which creates anxiety
Yep,
and
yep,
regret and
yep,
anger and all these different things. Yeah.
yep.
But yeah, let's move on to the next one because I think you'll see how that's very related as well. Mhm.
Yeah, well, the next one's resilience. It's one of my favorite words.
Mhm.
It's the ultimate in non-victimhood.
Mhm.
And let me read the definition and then we can chat about it for a minute. But resilience is about consistently rising through hardship, adapting, enduring, and pushing through every test. Every failure and difficulty should be viewed as a teacher or resistance training for your soul, shaping you into someone who cannot be broken.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Like I said, we've done a whole episode on this, right? This is fortitude. This is overcoming adversity. What doesn't break you makes you. This is probably the difference. It's not what happens to you in life, it's how you respond what happens to you. You
yeah,
can look at it as remember we did the whole episode on um, or more forte, right? Things happen for you, not to you.
yep,
And it's really your resilience to overcome that. It's also very related to taking full responsibility for what you
yeah.
did and
That's
not
my
blaming
yeah,
it, becoming a victim. That's almost become vague or vain in our culture that you look
it's
for.
terrible. It's
It's terrible
terrible.
because you
Yeah,
look to blame somebody for everything instead of taking full responsibility for your own actions. It's the difference between a boy and a man.
yeah. It's interesting that if you find yourself when something bad happens, if you find yourself initially going, whose fault is this? You don't have this one down.
Yeah.
If you find yourself going, geez, I wonder how that happened and what I might be able to do to make sure that never happens again.
Hmm.
Then you're on the right track. The work's not
Yeah.
done, but you're moving in the right
Yeah.
direction. That's
It-
my opinion.
yeah. No, it's a really important part because if you ever notice too, if you're interacting with somebody and the difference between somebody immediately blaming somebody for something that happened to them versus saying, this happened. I recognize what I could have done differently, and this is what I'm doing moving forward. I don't know about you, but I can size somebody up really quickly just by their victim mentality versus their responsibility mentality of how they go about their life and whether I want to continue to have a relationship with them or how limited that relationship is because I don't trust that it's not that I don't trust them. I don't trust their decisions when something happens because things are going to happen.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
as they say, you don't know who somebody is until something bad happens.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and and the other interesting thing is one of my favorite question. All the interviews I've done over the years, my favorite question, if I'm going to be hiring someone to work for me,
Mhm.
tell me about the hardest thing that's ever happened to you, and tell me the story, and tell me how you came out the other end. You immediately get to the bottom of this particular issue,
Yeah.
and you get a lot of other things from that answer, but you get victim or self accountable immediately.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Right.
next one is consistency. We like
Yeah.
to talk about this as well. We like to talk about all these. Um,
Yeah. That's why I said I think it's a great framework.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Consistency involves small intentional actions repeated over time, which transforms a man into a monument. It is the daily disciplined effort that builds momentum, compounds progress, and makes success inevitable, even when progress feels invisible. That last
Mhm.
part is the most important part for me because
Mhm.
a lot of the stuff that we do that's of any value is the progress you make is more often than not, you don't notice it and then you do. And a lot of us, myself included, if things are terribly difficult and we're tempted to quit, in my experience, right before you're going to quit, you're means you're as close to success as you've ever
Yeah.
been.
That's the
But
resistance.
yeah,
Yeah. 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 Consistency. It's hard, right? It's to consistently to do the it's back to discipline, but it's even more important because if you don't consistently do something, you're not going to have the results of it. That is what I find most people will quit. It's in fact I was talking to somebody the other day about patents and innovation, and I often will makes fun of. I'll laugh about it and try to put some humor to it. But it's the creative mind is more of a curse than a gift because it just can't stop. It just keeps thinking and thinking. But that's just it. If it can't you can't turn it off. Most people will quit because it gets really hard to
yep,
commercialize it or bring it to market or bring it
hmm
to life. Most people will quit. And it's the old 80-20, right? If 20% of the results or 20% of the people produce 80% of the results because the 80% quit. They weren't
yeah.
consistent.
Well,
They couldn't
my
consistently do the same thing. You know?
whether it was sports or business, and I'm thinking back to the people that I would call really successful.
Hmm.
They had this. They all had this. You know,
Hmm.
there's no very. They show up every day. I was watching a Celtics
Yep.
documentary with my girlfriend the other day, and Larry Bird was the spotlight of this particular one, and
Hmm.
that was his thing, man. All I want to be known for is I showed up to play every day.
It's yeah, it's the one. Just about every talk I'll do, I'll start off with 90% of life is just showing up,
Yeah,
and but it's hard to show
true.
up. It's
It's
really hard to
true.
show up. It's hard to show up when you don't have any money. It's hard to show up when you don't have any food. It's hard to show up when you don't have any support. There's all kinds of reasons
It's hard to
not to
show up
show
when
up.
you're tired.
When you're
It's
tired, when you don't
when you're
know.
hurt.
Yeah, but show up all the time, you just became part of the 80%.
Yeah,
Show up on time, you just became part of the other 80%. Show up prepared, you just became part of the 80%.
yeah,
Show up with a good attitude, you just became part of the 80%.
yeah,
And it
yeah,
really is that simple. The math is on your side if you show up,
yep,
but it's hard to show up, and consistency is part of showing up. So,
yeah. It's also a very attractive quality. You
yep,
know.
yes it is. Yeah.
So the next one's one of your favorite words. It's
Oh yeah.
solitude.
Yeah.
Solitude is a crucible where clarity is born and inner strength is forged, independent of external validation.
Yeah.
Embracing solitude teaches self-reliance, allows you to confront weaknesses, sharpen thoughts, and builds an inner fortress that
Mhm.
no external storm can breach. That was
Yeah, yeah, I'll come in on this. I'm all over this right now, just because, and I'll just use the last few words, right? No external storm can um, throw you off. When you have solitude, you're not attached to the outcomes of what others think. You just get really, you just get clarity of why you're doing it, and being alone allows you to do that. Some people have this almost addiction to be attached to somebody or to have constant feedback. But when you're with solitude, it gets very quiet, and we talked about this earlier, right? It's kind of like meditation. It's the same thing. But when you're constantly being influenced by others' thoughts or others' opinions, it's very hard to to manifest, your goals, your dreams. And it's not some. I think it's something that comes later on in life too, because uh, when you're younger, I think you want to have excitement and fun, and that's good too. Everybody wants to have a good time, but being alone and learning to be alone is very powerful. And you also
oh
find
yeah.
yourself back to clarity. You have more clarity when you speak to people. You've thought through your thoughts. It's part of meditation. It's part of just being alone. And
Yeah, and I think there's an important distinction that I want to make, and one is there's a big difference between being alone and being lonely.
mhm.
I think that
Yeah.
if you're lonely, then you don't have this solitude thing down.
Mhm.
If you don't enjoy your own company on its own, there's work to be done. And because I know this from personal, when I got divorced, and anybody that I've ever seen that got divorced, there's always one of them that gets remarried right away, and there's another one that doesn't do anything for a while. I was the other one. I didn't even go on a date, I think, for about 10 years. So
Mhm.
I've had a lot of solitude, and I enjoy solitude. I think it's clarifying.
Mhm.
So the next one is number six is energy. Energy is a crucial unseen currency. Mastering it means precisely placing your reserves and eliminating what drains you. Channel your vitality with precision into your body, craft, and purpose, protecting it from trivialities and distractions to become a force of nature. This
Mhm.
reminds me of what I shared with you a couple of weeks ago, and I've been pretty good at it. And that's just staying away from the news, and that because that saps my energy, man. That takes so much of my energy away from me, and I wasn't even
Yeah.
conscious of that. I don't think I was conscious of it in hindsight, looking back. I just decided to do it because I was feeling kind of down, and I thought change something, and
Yeah.
it was where I was putting my energy.
Yeah. Energy is a currency. There's time, there's money, and there's energy. And if somebody is sucking the energy out of you, and they don't believe in you, or they don't agree with you, you're wasting a lot of energy trying to convince them of something that they're probably never gonna ever agree with you with. So energy has a lot to do with the people around you. Some people energize you, others just suck the energy out of you.
Yeah,
but it
it's
man,
incredible. You know, it is incredible when you're in the presence of someone who energizes you.
yes.
It's so uplifting. It's so nice. It feels
Mm,
so good. And when the
yes.
person's taking energy away from you,
Hmm.
that I don't think that I don't for me, I don't notice the negative energy because I'm an optimist until
Hmm.
probably too far into it. I probably
Hmm.
get sapped too much before I go, hey, what's going on here? This is not good. Because I'm like, I like giving people the benefit of the doubt. You know how some people are like, they lead with a hug and some people lead with a palm, say, wait a second, you're not getting in here until I get to know you.
Hmm.
My older daughter leads with the hug, and my
Hmm.
younger daughter says, you don't get to come into my sphere until I say you can, you know? So
Yeah, yeah.
they both come with pluses and minuses.
Yeah, we've talked about narcissistic people too, and they're the worst as far as sucking energy out of you. If they're narcissists, they don't care at all about you. It's all about them and all the energy. They're again, some of the times I think it's subconscious. They don't even realize they're doing it, but
Yeah.
they're
I'm not letting my ex-wife into this conversation.
right, right. But you know that no, there are people you have to be very careful that will just suck all the energy out of the room to them because they want to be the focus,
Yeah.
and it's identifying those people and realizing this is not good for my life. There's a lot of those type of people right now in the world,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So,
Yeah. Yeah, they don't
but
you can't let them in. You can't let them in, and if you make the mistake of letting them in, you got to get them out as soon as you
or
can.
back to self-awareness. You're self-aware that these people are sucking are creating a negative energy that doesn't allow you to be the best version of yourself. Yeah. So
Yeah, the next one, number seven, is the mind. The mind is the battlefield of destiny, and an unshakable mind stands like a fortress, solid and immovable. This requires clarity of purpose, disciplined thought, planting strength, not weakness, and mastering emotions to bend their energy into power. Boy, there's a lot there. Well,
yeah,
we were
there
talking
is.
in the pregame, we were talking about some of this just in the context of religion and meditation versus
Yeah.
prayer. And I do a lot of work on my mind. And I think it's, to me, it's no different than my body. It's like exercise. Are you doing it consistently? Are you doing it with focus? Are you doing it, you know, over periods, a long period of time? Because the mind is, I think the mind's a lot harder to get in shape than the body, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, the body is more, and let's just tie our framework, right? We have these 5 areas of our life: our profession, our um, our health, mental health, and physical health. Where this would fall, right?
Hmm.
We have our relationships with others, men, women. We have the relationship with the world, our worldview. It's our politics, and the what's the one I'm missing right now, Mark?
Money.
And a relationship with money. So yeah, which ties into all these, of course, right? But the body is as much and for the way I see it is the mental health and the physical health because they're directly related. The body is the temple. The so your fitness, your breathing, your diet, your working out. That's where it all goes through. And if that's not if you're not taking care of that and it's not sharp and it's not at its best, then all the others will be affected by that. So
Yeah, I think the fact that you were an athlete and I was an athlete might make us more conscious of this. I'm not sure, but I've always had exercise in my life and I've always eaten pretty well. The next one, the actual number eight, is the body. We might as well just go right into it. But a sharp mind requires a powerful body for execution, confidence, and presence. Train your body with intensity, eat with purpose, and rest strategically so it obeys your will, building not only physical strength, but also mental and spiritual resilience. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And the thing that jumps out at me there, and I get reminded of this often, but I don't do it well, is eating with purpose. You
yeah.
know, I usually eat because I'm hungry and I don't probably savor and appreciate and chew more and slow down. That's always been a weakness of mine, but I think it's very valuable advice.
Again, I think I jumped ahead a little bit, but what I was referring to was the framework. We consolidated those into our health, right? Our physical health, our mental health.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, if your exercise and sleep and diet, if that's off, everything else is going to be affected by that. So the mental health and the physical health is definitely related to the mind and the body as far as our imperfect men's club framework of those 5 areas of your life. Very related.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're
I,
already.
I also find in the as they used to be referred to it as you get your best thoughts in a shower, but everybody has their best environment to get their best thoughts and their clarity.
Mhm.
In my case, if I'm running or I'm lifting weights, that's my shower. That's where uh, if I'm doing something physical, then the mind starts to see things differently as it processes the information differently. And sometimes that's after a run or after because you're more focused, right? Your mind is
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
is not thinking
I
about
went
all those
for a
different things.
I went for a 4 mile walk this morning, and it
Mhm.
definitely changed my outlook in an hour.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
it's all connected. Yeah. Number nine is legacy.
Mhm.
This is a good one for people our age, I suppose. True power extends beyond one's life. Legacy is the enduring mark you leave on the world. Live with intention, aligning every choice with a higher purpose and creating influence that outlives you, built through years of consistency, vision, and unshakable values. Yeah, this is an interesting topic for men. It's an interesting topic for men that are aging towards midlife and beyond because I don't know. I don't remember thinking about legacy as a young man. Maybe
Mhm.
I did, but I think it happens as as some of the other stuff clears out. You know, the kids are grown up and maybe moved away and stuff like that. But it's another way of saying, I suppose, purpose. You know.
Yeah, I think contribution, legacy. I moved away for a while because initially it was more about the ego. You want a legacy because you have an ego. Uh, I've kind of reframed it. I think as a woman, your children are your legacy, and not that that doesn't apply to men, but contribution, making the world a little bit better. Why before you left it, it's its impact. It's having that's what I refer to as legacy. You're doing something that's not just for money or for fame or for your ego. You're doing something because you know it had an impact in a positive way. So yeah, the legacy often can be referred to as, oh, he has a big ego. He wants to leave a legacy. No, some people don't want to serve in a way that they have contribution, and it doesn't have to be about seeing their name on a building or the publicity that comes with it. In fact, like in my case, I've made it a point not to have to avoid the attention. I don't like it. I don't like the attention. If I'm um, doing something to help a group of people, I'd rather not let everybody know about it because it makes me uncomfortable. I'd rather
Yeah.
give what unconditionally without anybody knowing. That's
Yeah, yeah, it's an interesting concept. I appreciate your distinction because you're right, and I think serving other people, how could that ever be considered selfish? I don't
yeah.
imagine it could be. But
Mhm.
hey, we're bumping up on the time, but I want to do
Yeah.
this, Jim, if you're cool. There's three more that we have on this list. I'm just going to say all three of them, and then we can you can conclude whatever you'd like. You may want to focus on one or just
Mhm.
quick on all three. But the last
Yep.
three are time, surround, which they call your environment, and untouchable.
Mhm.
And so, you know, we talked a
Yeah, I'll
little
jump
bit
in
of,
on this. The time is just allocation of time. We talked about it a little bit before, and that is be very selective of who you give your time to. And if it doesn't serve your goals or your greater vision, then it's not for free, and you can't get it back once you give it. So this is just again me talking to myself. I don't mind helping people, but I have to be going forward. I have to be very cautious not to give up my time and my energy together. As far as surrounding probably one of the of all these, be very selective of who you surround yourself with. Certain people, we talked about it, right? Certain people just want to suck all the energy out of it, and it's always about them. And
I've heard the phrase before that I liked. It's something along the lines of you are the product of the five people that you spend the most time with.
absolutely, that's exactly what this is speaking to. And then yeah, the last one is really just not to be thrown off, no, untouchable. You know, self mastery. You have confidence. You have your vision, and things are going to happen. But to be unstoppable, not to be one event to throw that off. Things are, you know, back to the resilience and the fortitude. That's the, in my opinion, the untouchable part. And but yeah,
Well,
Mark, again, I
you said something in the pregame that I think is might be a nice way to conclude. I'll give you the last word after I'm
Mhm,
finished here, but you were talking about meeting with friends and colleagues that have, young adult children, and how the percentage of young adult children seems to be much higher as far as it goes with depression and addiction and anxiety. And we can attribute all that. But man, if you handed this list of 12 to a young man
mhm.
and you got the commitment from the young man, I will do my best to live through this lens for the rest of my life. That life's going to be a lot better,
It is.
because there's so much noise out there now. These are all much more difficult to do, I think, today than they were when I was 20. You know?
Yeah, well, it's back to the environment and also the relationship. We cover this in our framework, right? The relationship we have with others, and that's particularly your mother, your sister, you know, your girlfriend, your wife. You know, that has a huge impact on your confidence and how you view the world. So you're right, Mark. These are fundamental to that, and not just to young men, to all men. You know, we
Yep.
have been our job as a man is to figure this stuff out and to be stable and to be a provider. Not talking about just money, a provider of truth, a provider of stability,
Yep.
and
Consistency.
the
Yep.
the, the social construct, especially over the last 20 years, has been to remove all this from men, and it's basically a transfer to somebody else, to other groups. So this is an individual thing, not a group thing.
No,
But
it's
yeah,
it's it.
couldn't agree with you more about the importance of this
Yeah,
at any
yeah.
stage in your life, but particularly young men.
Well, I think we did good, Jim. We didn't go too far over the time, and it's those are some fun topics to talk about.
All right. Till next week, Mark.
Thanks, man.